Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here on a manic Monday. We have a holiday, but it ain't going to stop us. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoy a little bit of extra overtime work for you here. Justin calls out Blake Lively's lies. That's right. In the legal system, a lot can be said with smart words, as lawyers like to flex their thesauruses, as it were, big thesaurus energy. And here we have Blake Lively parties misrepresenting what's going on, so says Justin Baldoni's side, which wouldn't be the first time they've accused the other side of misrepresenting things. Well, today we've already shared multiple Justin Baldoni stories, including Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds showing up at Saturday Night Live, which has pissed a lot of people off. A lot of people say, I'm boycotting SNL. It's like, look, do whatever the hell you want. I personally don't take it too seriously, but it is interesting that Justin Baldoni is the canceled party at the moment. He certainly wasn't invited to make a fun quip about it. So did Ryan Reynolds' joke backfire? Well, it didn't help them at all. We'll put it that way. So I'm going to get into this letter to the judge right now. After this next video, and boy, is there so much to get into. We've got the head of WME, Ari Emanuel, getting roasted by the internet after defending Blake Lively. No surprises there. I'm sure he had no idea the current he was going up against. Well, now he knows. I've also got Justin Baldoni's dad and the editor of of It Ends With Us defending him. So are the tides turning publicly for Justin Baldoni? Yet to be seen, but we'll be covering all of that. So make sure you're subscribed. And also make sure you hit the alert bell, because just so you guys know, YouTube will only recommend up to 3 videos of a content creator per day. Today, I'm making 5 videos. So chances are there's 2 videos you're not going to get recommended. If you enjoy what we do, hit the alert bell or just keep on checking back. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. I like to give you a little 2-minute fluffing before we get into the old legal world. Dear Judge, this is from Justin's side. As counsel for Wayfarer Studios, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movies, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer Potties. We write in response to the letter dated February 15th, 2025 from counsel for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds concerning their subpoenas to cellular providers AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, aka the subpoenas. In their letter, the Lively parties misrepresent the scope of the subpoenas, contending that they seek only non-content records, such as call, text, and data logs, and not the content of any communication. That is flatly false. Yeah, when I read theirs, I was like, well, it's not that unreasonable if they just want to know dates and times of calls, but what does that actually prove? What does it prove to have a date and the time of a call? You don't know if someone's doing business or wishing their friend's daughter a happy quinceañera. You have no idea what the phone call's all about. So they're saying, well, that's not the case. The subpoenas demand all documents concerning ingoing and outgoing calls or text messages related to the phone number redacted, belonging to each of the individual Wayfarer parties, some of their employees, and various non-party individuals, including but not limited to call logs, text logs, data logs, and cell site location information. Emphasis added, as defined in the subpoenas, documents is synonymous in meaning and equal in scope to the usage of the term documents or electrically stored information. States that documents or electrically stored information includes writings, drawings, graphs, charts, photographs, sound recordings, images, and other data or data compilations. All right, well, if that's the case, then yes, the Lively parties did pretty much lie through their teeth, saying, hey, we just wanted the call logs, also videos, things like that. If the Lively parties were seeking only call, text, and data logs, their subpoenas would have asked for all call, text, and data logs for phone number. But that is not what they actually asked for. And again, I don't know if this would hold up in court, but my guess is if they can sneak one by the cell phone carriers and Verizon says, all right, here's all the video you asked for, here's all the audio, voice notes, whatever. If that's the case, then they just have all this extra information. So it's like, can you blame them for trying? Well, maybe not in a normal court case, but in a case that's being judged by so many, publicly, this doesn't help Blake Lively's credibility side if her lawyers aren't credible, right? So on one end, I go, well, can't blame him for trying. On the other, I go, well, we have a credibility issue. But Justin Baldoni's side says, but that is not what they are actually asking for. Instead, the subpoenas seek all documents related to the various phone numbers, which is a request of the broadest possible scope and clearly encompasses content as well as explicitly requested location information. To the extent the lively parties are, in fact, merely seeking logs, then their subpoenas should so state. As drafted, however, the subpoenas seek precisely what we asserted in our Valentine's Day letter to the court, namely all, and we continue, documents related to the listed phone numbers in the possession, custody, or control of the cellular providers. Whether the providers actually have content browsing history or location data and the like is an open question, but it is not one we are prepared to see answered only at the time of production. In sum, the subpoenas are overbroad on their face. Then they cite some smart legal rules. The lively parties cited 2 cases for their proposition that the scope of the subpoenas is permissible. Both are in opposite. Some lawyer want to tell me what that means? The Smith versus contradictory, maybe? Me dumb. The Smith versus Maryland case is a criminal case, and case law concerning the permissible scope of Fourth Amendment searches and seizures has no bearing whatsoever on the scope of permissible discovery and litigation. Oh my gosh, I'm no lawyer. As you can tell by the length of my hair, this means I work from home. I have work from home hair. I'm no lawyer, but the fact that the lively parties were citing a case that's a criminal case that doesn't even pertain to civil. Now, you might argue, well, they want to up their charges from harassment to assault, in which case maybe a criminal case would apply. We have yet to see that, but stick around tomorrow, because Tuesday, after this federal holiday, might be a day that we are very busy, to say the least, as we learn new information. In Smith versus Maryland, it's a criminal case, so we got that. And then they go on, unlike here, the facts at issue in that case gave rise to an arguably justifiable basis for the sweeping nature of the subject request. In Ugorji, an employer sought to prove that an employee was engaging in inappropriate non-work-related activities during business hours, and the employee's cell phone records were, as alleged, relevant to that allegation. Nothing in this case supports such broad disclosure, and the lively parties' subpoenas lack even a modicum of tailoring, as required by Rule 26b(1) of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. The lively parties' preposterous assertion that their plainly overbroad subpoenas should be waived due to insufficient meeting in conferring must be rejected out of hand. The parties held a meet and confer conference on February 14th, during which the Wayfair parties explained that the breadth of information sought by the subpoena is frankly obscene, and that the plain language of the document request does not support the limited scope suggestions by the lively parties. Moreover, certain of the providers have already contacted our clients indicating they intend to comply. Whoa! Given the lively parties' refusal to withdraw the subpoenas pending further meet and confer efforts, the then impending holiday weekend, and the fast approaching return date of the subpoenas, the Wayfair parties had no reasonable alternative but to move to quash. We respectfully reiterate our request that the court quash the subpoenas as promptly as possible. So their response is, it's not like we have nothing to hide. We just think that you're asking for way too much and there's no sort of precedence for what you're asking, and therefore we want to quash. That is their way of saying rewrite and then resubmit. If they were sort of the teachers here, it's not a fail, it's a did not complete, do this over. All right, so that's where they stand. And it's interesting. We'll have to see what the judge says. The judge will set the tone here. Now, as far as those leaked HR complaints, here's Saron Things. I shared this video earlier, but let's have a listen. It is now being sort of widely circulated that most people believe the HR complaints we shared earlier are fake. We said maybe they're fake, maybe they're real, but we covered it, as neutral as we could. They kind of don't. The formatting looks real, but the dialogue seems fake. Does that make sense?
I think that was another severe miscalculation. If those 3 HR complaints looked a little fishy to all the media outlets they were sent to, so much so that they were like, girl, I don't know, we're not going to publish. No. So then Lively's team chooses to send them to TikTokers, independent journalists, because knowing that the threshold for them to bring these types of things to the public is much lower than a huge, legacy media company. And that is true, but they didn't seem to think about how these HR complaints would be framed. Yeah, now we, the public, have them in our grubby little mitts. We are asking questions, appropriate questions why are dates redacted? Why are names other than Baldoni's redacted? The timeline for these complaints, they're critical. Why would you not include them? So yeah, TikTokers are bringing these documents that they were sent to the public, but they're doing so while saying, this shit looks fishy.
Yeah, that was the problem, right? Is I think if the documents are fake, that people would want to sow doubt, and maybe Justin really did do this. But the fact that the audience is so skeptical, it actually is more of like a boy who cried wolf, where now if real documents come out, people aren't going to believe them. So again, I do think if the right information comes out, my intuition is I'm going to cover this and be on the right side of this story. And, in most cases, when we look back, I get stories wrong, but we have a pretty high batting average of skepticism and, our intuition kind of being the thing we lead, looking at evidence, things like that. I'm not here to pick up a pitchfork and just join some mob because that's what everyone's doing. We say, all right, let's just slow it down and wait and see. And as of right now, doesn't look too good for those HR complaints. They're looking a little bit fishy. All right, now I make my morning and afternoon podcast. The morning one I record at midnight. And I went on a rant about MapQuest and how like my generation millennials, like we learned MapQuest, right? That was like our thing. You had to print the photo, you had to print the maps and whatnot. So I went on some rant and here I got some people hating on me. Now some said, I'm rolling about the MapQuest bit. The fact you couldn't really read it because it printed in color, but you were poor. So real. Yeah, that's it. That's what it was. Someone said, hello? Gen X used MapQuest. Do you even know the age groups of the generations? It's like, all right, chill out, Gen X. People get so triggered when you talk about generations. I actually had to delete an Instagram the other night because I was making fun of boomers. I was throwing out my can of coffee and I was like, boomers would have saved this and made a trinket out of it. And it's not like, in my general opinion, and this will probably trigger you too, my audience, boomers saved things not because they were environmental, but because they were cheap. And your parents were the greatest generation or whatever. You're coming off of World War II. You wanted to ration things. All right. My generation says, why save shit if we don't need it? Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to recycle it, but it's like, I don't need an extra coffee pot thing. And anyway, the point I'm trying to say is the MapQuest debate is so funny because sure, yeah, Gen X used MapQuest, but the point was when I got my driver's license, and I don't know what year it was, 2002. Oh boy, aging myself. I know, that's right. I got my license when I was 4 years old. When I got my driver's license, the internet was just coming about and MapQuest existed. The older Gen X, and especially the boomer generation, all learned how to drive with what I called atlases, but as I was corrected, they're actually maps. Okay, Mr. Millennial, we did not travel with an atlas. An atlas is a globe in book form. We just used street maps that we got from AAA. All right, tell me you're not old. We didn't use atlases. We went to AAA. I get it. I understand. I love poking fun at the different generations. We use the tools that we have. Someone said, you're killing me with the atlas and dial-up. I remember asking my dad how to spell a word. He'd say, go get the dictionary. But how do I spell the word, Dad? Well, the first letter, me. So I guess I'll just continue to guess until I stumble upon the correct spelling. Yeah, times were tough out there. Nostalgia is fun. Just don't take it too seriously. I don't want to trigger the boomers. By the way, the easiest way to, the easiest generation to get triggered are the boomers. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong by not commenting. We don't get triggered. We're not. It's all right. It's okay. I'm just a sassy elder millennial poking fun at you. The real generation that's effed is Generation Z and Alpha because they're not going to learn how to do anything. I mean, the internet goes down. I mean, they're going to be stuck at the end of the cul-de-sac not knowing, Daddy, where do I go? Very hard to, here's what they could do. I got a solution. Here's my solution, then I'll let you guys go. What we could do is if we printed maps on the participation trophies we gave everybody, then okay, you get the point. All right, that's it for me. We got a lot of content coming your way today. Earn the subscribe button. Let me know. We'll see you in a bit.